All right, everyone, let me start the meeting. Welcome, everybody, to the Technology Committee meeting for Tuesday, December 3, 2024. I'm very, very happy and excited to welcome new board member Sander to this committee, as well as member Andrew Honig, also
Thank you.
to the board. And I know that Sabah, you're going to be voting today. So anyways, yeah. I don't have any other remarks other than to say I hope you guys all have wonderful holidays, as this will be our last meeting before the new year. Is there any public comment?
There's nothing.
Oh, roll call, thank you.
You,
I'm here.
Berlin,
Here.
Cahill, Chaplin, Eckhoff,
Here.
Galassi. Here. Heather.
Here.
Henry.
Here.
Kazmarek.
Here.
Lucas. Rutledge.
Here.
White.
Here.
We have a quorum.
And there is no public comment yet. Okay, great. So I'm going to move forward on the approval of minutes. Can I get a motion to approve 24-3229 approval of minutes for the tech committee? Tuesday, November 19, 2024, and I heard a motion and a second. Thank you. Any good discussion or revisions to these minutes? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And thank you. So moving on to procurement requisitions, I'd like a motion on TECO 4-24, amendment to county contract issued to AT&T Mobility, doing business as AT&T Mobility National Act, to provide wireless services, including basic cellular voice, smartphones, wireless data, and push-to-talk for county departments to increase the encumbrance by $24,325, resulting in a total contract of $1,505,860, an increase of 1.64%. So I get a motion? Right? And a second? Hello.
You're late.
Hello, how are you?
Hello.
Thank you. Welcome. Very nice to have you. Thank you. All right, so I did hear a motion. Did I get a second? All right, member Rutledge seconded. Thank you. Any discussion with regard to this item? Okay, hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And that passes. Thank you. Can I get a motion on 24-3209, recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order to SAS Institute, Inc. for annual software maintenance and licensing for IT for the period of January 31, 2025 through January 30, 2026 for a contract total of $17,440, which is exempt from bidding. Anybody give me a motion?
So moved.
Second. And thank you, member Rutledge and member Galassi. Any discussion with regard to this item?
Madam Chair.
Yes,
So
go
I
ahead.
just wanted to let the committee know that this is another one of those items that are that's directly associated with the mainframe. As you know, we are on our way to sunsetting our mainframe next year. We don't anticipate having to renew this next year. So this should be the last approval for this maintenance and support. It's data analytics that we use for applications running on the mainframe.
Wonderful. Thank you, Anthony. All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Hearing none, that passes. So for informational items, I move to receive and place on file JPSP 44-24, recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order to Heartland Business Systems for the purchase of a scale computer system for the Sheriff's Office for the period of December 10, 2024 through December 9, 2029 for contract not to exceed $244,636.52. Can I please get a second?
Second.
And all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any discussion? Sorry. I don't think there was going to be any discussion on this one because we talked about this in JPS. And then I'm going to move to receive and place on file 24-3188 county contract 7339-0001 serve issued to CDW government to increase the contract amount by $19,960.80 to close the contract. Thank you. I did receive a second. Any discussion on this? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And that passes. Thank you. So I really wanted to get to our IT project updates. And I'm very happy to say that these project updates have been, ongoing, and Anthony's been doing this probably like every 2-3 months. And because we have new members who are joining us, I'm very, very happy to turn this over to Anthony.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. So welcome to the new committee members, board members, but also committee members. welcome. We do these quarterly. The goal is to keep the committee members up to date on where we are with our technology investments, right? So you guys approve these things annually, and you need to know how we're doing with them, the good, the bad, the ugly. We share it all, and we open it up to questions or, if you want us to drill down more, we'll do that. So very high level. This is our last update for 2024. So I'd like to start with some of the accomplishments for this year. We have been busy as usual in this year. We've gone through quite a few projects, and ironically, we as part of our strategic planning session, we decided over the next couple of years, we're going to focus on operational excellence, which means really trying to dot the I's and cross the T's, make sure that anything that we've purchased over the past couple of years I've been here, that we're using fully to full capacity, that it works well, that our user base knows how to use it. But we still have quite a few projects. So first one is we implemented a new intranet site for our internal staff so that they can share documents and communicate better in a more effective way. We use our Zendesk application to do that. Launched it this year. Prior to that, this year we were using SharePoint. There was very little usage on our old intranet. Now there's tons of usage and a lot of interest. So we are creating more application, more functionality on the intranet, and the different departments and elected official offices are using it to communicate better. So that was completed. We also launched a new learning management system that allows for us to keep track of our annual training. Throughout DuPage County, we can share new applications. It's mobile friendly and fully accessible to the website to anyone who wants to use it. So if you guys remember, last month was Cybersecurity Awareness Month, and we use it for different training opportunities like that. So Absorb is a new application, and that went live this year, and we're using it for quite a bit now. Replaced I think, 10-year-old learning management system there. We recently launched a new IT applications portal, and that essentially is replacing any of the applications that were on the mainframe that were not moved to a new platform. We took them all, moved them to one platform, created a portal so that our users have one place to go to access those different applications like Leads and some of our internal homegrown applications that we wrote. So they have one place to basically go to access a few different applications. Tyler property tax post-implementation. I want to highlight the post-implementation piece. Those of you who were here last year remember that we actually launched our Tyler property tax application last year in January of 2023. Post-implementation, we've had some challenges with them. So we started kind of a phase 2 project where we worked on major issues and other activities outside of it. And I'm happy to say, I'm sure Paul from the Treasurer's Office is actually happy as well. We're able to close that out this year as well. So we addressed all of the major issues and completed any outstanding functionality, and we are using it fully. So no offense to Cook County, but they're still working on their implementation of the Tyler property tax application, and we're done. We're fully done there. CrowdStrike cybersecurity application, that's our application that we use that essentially ensures that 24/7, 365, they're monitoring any malicious activity that may be trying to enter our network space. And we have the ability to use CrowdStrike to respond right away if there's ever an incident, and there has not been an incident, knock on wood. But we fully launched that application this year and got the clients installed on all of our client devices. Mitel 4 phone system upgrade. You didn't hear me. I mentioned it a couple of times. You probably didn't hear me talk about it a lot. Probably the next 3 are more operational in nature, but it's huge because we upgraded the core of our voice over IP system. As you guys know, voice over IP allows for us to make phone calls within our network and not be charged, right? So anything that happens over our network is free. So you pick it up, and we're saving money by doing that. The system, the application, the version of the application was a couple of years old. I think it was 9.2. We upgraded it to 9.4, which gives us more functionality. It's faster, it's more stable, it's more secure. So we upgraded that behind the scenes. You didn't notice, you pick up the phones, they work well. That's the way they're supposed to work. E-discovery is a big piece. This helps us identify out of thousands, probably tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of email messages out there. It allows for our team to find individual messages for FOIA requests, other requests for our state's attorney's office. We upgraded that platform to make it easier for them and easier for us to find information quickly. And then last but not least, you guys know the facilities department actually transformed our board office, our boardroom, but our team worked on all of the technology behind it. So those were our major accomplishments this year. A lot of small projects that are not on this list we also completed, but these are the ones that were more impactful. Any questions before I move on? Okay. All right, so moving on to, there are really roughly 4 projects that we're wrapping up or still working on for this year. The biggest of the 4 is our ERP implementation. For those of you who are not familiar with enterprise resource planning, it's essentially the application that's used by most organizations to manage their finances, their HR department, their procurement, all of those core administrative areas. So we are in the process of replacing our existing system Infor. We decided to do it in 2 phases. First phase focuses on HR and payroll. Second phase will focus on essentially everything else, but the core of it is finance. So we launched the HR payroll project last year. We were supposed to go live this year. It did not happen. We're a little behind because of some challenges, some issues that we had to address. But we currently have a new go live now in Q2 of 2025. So we believe that based on the outstanding hot issues, which you see listed there, we'll be able to address those things and go live around April of 2025. We are working very closely with the vendor, Dayforce, and the implementation partner on Actuate to fully address things like data quality. We found some things in the data that, concern us, and we're trying to work through to address it and clean those things up. Parallel testing, we started before, but because there were problems with the data, the parallel testing really doesn't work well, right? Because when they go in and test things and look at the data doesn't match up, there's a problem. So data quality actually has to be fixed. We're going to do a second parallel testing. And parallel testing, for those of you who don't know, is having basically payroll ran in the old system and in the new system at the same time and matching everything to make sure it's 100% solid. So we're going to do that again. It is a very resource intensive process. We're going to run it again after the data quality is cleaned up and try it again, and we should have more success the second time around. And then we're working on communication and training plans to communicate to all of the departments and users who are impacted by this change, make sure that they understand what's going to happen in the new system, that they're fully trained in how to access information and access the functionality. That's going to happen over the next 3 months. PBJ report, so that is the payroll-based reporting system for the care center. That one's been a big challenge. It's a huge endeavor for most organizations, and I guess we're no different. So we've made progress, though, I'm happy to say, over the past couple of months. And we're working with the care center resources to just validate that the information on the new report matches with the state or the state or federal requirements. Can't remember which one it is. It actually matches. It has to. If it doesn't, we could lose tons of funding if that doesn't work. So we're working on that. And then last but not least is finance reporting. Super important that the data matches, that it matches what's in their GL. It hasn't happened to date. We're still working through it. We think that we'll be able to figure it out and match what's in the on the finance systems to what will be in the new Dayforce system. They have to match, right? For a lot of different reasons. So those are the big items. And then for those you don't know, finance, ERP, is currently on hold. We're not gonna look at finance until we ensure the HR payroll is solid and implemented well.
Any questions about this part? Because I know this was not what we were hoping for in this April timeframe, so.
Yeah.
Any questions? Okay, no, let's move on.
Sure.
Oh, yes, go ahead. Yeah,
Just,
no.
is it still the expectation that you have to go live on the first day of a quarter? So
It
if
is.
for some reason it got pushed, it would go from April to then July, like that would be the.
That is correct. So that's why we're not doing January. Yeah, we're gonna do April first. We hope
Right.
it'll be done way before April first. But officially we can't go live until April first. We hope that we, at least a month and a half out, will be 99% there. So, the remaining time between, that period and April first, it will just crossing the Ts, dotting the Is, training, making sure people are comfortable with the system.
Yes, recorder top one.
You know, we used to have calls with Dayforce and, the team.
Yeah,
Maybe every 3 weeks.
we did. Yeah, once a month.
We haven't been,
Yeah, I'll talk to Chris Clevenger and make sure we get those back on the books. I agree. I'm not sure why they stopped.
yeah, because those were, I mean, I remember last November, things were really set to go. And then, I don't know what happened, but, we were on task I remember those meetings. I remember seeing the charts. We were on task November 2023 for this to go live in July. And then I think maybe this spring or maybe in June or July, we stopped having those calls.
Yeah.
So I think that's important to have those calls with whoever the new finance chair is gonna be and,
Correct me if I'm wrong, but Dayforce canceled those meetings, right?
So, yeah, there's a couple things. Number one, you're absolutely right. And we will have those. Those are essentially the executive project meetings that you have for
Yeah.
all project implementations.
Yeah.
Those should actually happen. Major stakeholders, finance committee chair, tech
Yes,
committee chair
okay.
has to be there to ask the right questions, make sure that we are on track for those projects. They stopped because we needed to have some serious conversations with the vendor because that information wasn't accurate. They were basically painting a pretty picture of how great things were, and we knew behind the scenes they weren't really that great. So we actually pulled the plug and said, no, we're not gonna go live, because if we go live, it's gonna be an absolute disaster.
Okay.
So we need to we held them accountable, basically, and said, you have to address this long list of 67 issues that we found outstanding that you don't have on your list. So that's what happened there. But that doesn't address why we haven't started them back up. Let me find out from Chris. And I'm sure it's just an oversight. I agree. I'm sure it's just an oversight. I'll talk to Chris Clark, for those you don't know, our payroll director, who's really the lead in this project. And I'll talk to her and make sure that we get them back on the books, but I agree, Liz, that we absolutely should have them.
might help.
Yeah. And let me just say that a lot of the problems, I'm not gonna say 100%, but I would say 80% of them are more on the vendor side. And we have conversations, and we've told them we're not gonna pay you a penny more or even pay you until you're able to address these things. 20% is on our side, things that we need to address. We need more resources, some other things to help out. We added on more functionality. We added on an additional part of the scope with the regional Office of Education.
Oh, okay.
So that-
Oh, that's-
That
yep.
created a little more,
Yeah.
added to the implementation timeline as well.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for the question and comment.
Okay. All right, next project, mainframe, I talked about shutdown. I don't need to say a lot about this one. We, like a lot of organizations, have relied on the mainframe for a long time. We have a 40-year-old mainframe that is going away finally, right? It's great technology. It lasted us a long time. But we have newer, faster, more secure technologies that we've implemented. The warrants application that is managed by the Sheriff's Department is the last remaining application on that huge, big mainframe box. And once that is migrated over, which they're anticipating they'll be completed with their migration in by January 1st. But I'll just say sometime in January, they'll be completed, and then we'll start the process of shutting down the mainframe.
Any
Two
questions? Oh, yes.
questions about
Member
that. Thank
Rutledge,
you,
go ahead.
Chair. I remember mainframe rooms from my early data processing days. What are you gonna do with the space? And
That's
can
a
we
great question.
recycle a lot of that equipment?
We're gonna make
So-
a really nice living room in the.
Yeah.
Both, great questions. So the first question, what are we gonna do with the space? We are gonna reclaim the space. We're already working on a solution to help us in IT. We take that
As you
space
should.
and use it as more collaborative space that we don't have downstairs.
Oh, okay.
So now, folks work a lot with conferences and they're in cubes, they can't hear because people are behind them. So we're gonna create a few collaboration spaces within IT
Mhm.
and take some of that mainframe, space and use it for that. The equipment, we can't do anything but recycle or get rid of. It's not worth anything.
No,
Okay.
and I'm absolutely not saying we should repurpose.
Oh, okay, yeah, we're not.
I'm
gonna
just
repurpose.
looking to find out if it's feasible to recycle some of that electronics.
Absolutely. So,
Very good.
yeah, we will definitely work on recycling, but yeah, it's very old technology that's holding together with
Museum
this,
somewhere,
tape,
or-
and, that's about it. So,
Thank you for the
Yeah,
question. Any other questions about this one?
Andrew.
Okay, thanks.
all right, here are, a few additional projects, not as large as the other ones. So for those of you who don't know, PRMS stands for Police Records Management. We manage the PRMS system for the largest police consortium in the United States. We have currently 31 agencies that are part, out of 39 that are part of our consortium. We are working to upgrade the existing application to give our police agencies more functionality and better reporting. We're also, at the same time, number two, looking to reassess where we are with our current application. So we use an application by the name of Hexagon. It is one of the world leaders in police records management, but we're going to make sure it's the right solution for us moving forward and at the right price point. So the RFP is going to allow for us to redo all of our requirements. All 31 of the agencies are involved in that process. They list out what their requirements are. We issue an RFP. We're going to bring in vendors, short list of vendors, 3 to 4 will come in, they'll demo, they'll let the different agencies come in, test it out, then we'll make a decision on how we move forward. The ultimate goal is to provide the functionality that our agencies need today, which has changed from the original requirements. And B, to ensure that we bring down the cost as much as possible to really help our municipalities manage their budgets in a more consistent way. So that's the ultimate goal of those two things. There's a different oversight committee for that, but I bring this in here so that you guys are aware of it because it is related to technology and the IT department does manage that application. FOIA request 2, we are looking to implement a new tool. We're still working through the process, assessing a few different options. And we hope in 2025, we'll be able to select something and move forward. And then last but not least, I told you guys about the operational excellence campaign. It's really about ensuring that we maximize our dollars and implement tools and solutions that all of our users can use and take advantage of. So what happens in a lot of organizations, they buy applications, they use about 70% of it or 60% of it as their main core functionality and 40% they never ever use. We're going to try to get to 100% on each and every application that we can. We're also looking at contracts and renegotiating contracts where possible to get either better terms or lower pricing for it all.
Member Eckhoff, you had a question?
And what's the purpose of the FOIA request tool?
Is to track all of the Freedom of Information Act requests that come into DuPage County right now. It comes in, then it's handed off to different either elected official offices or departments and not really tracked in a central way. It'll help us track it in a central way.
So
It'll-
Connor got it.
No, he kind of does.
I don't sleep.
He does. So Connor is actually part of this process and he's going to help us revamp the entire process and make the tool a part of the new solution as part of it. But it is difficult for Connor and the state's attorney's office because sometimes they don't even know what FOIA requests are out there and who's responding to them. The new tool will essentially allow for the state's attorney's office to have access to all of them, to review them, to approve, to move forward, to just keep track of what we're doing. We don't do that as an organization right now.
Auditor White?
Yeah, to speak to that point, my office receives FOIA. I'm the FOIA officer and we'll get FOIAs for stormwater. We'll forward it to stormwater so they can answer it. We get, certain problem people, we send to Connor. But
Yeah.
There's no
All the
central
good stuff.
repository documenting what we receive and what we respond to. I have a comprehensive list of everything my office handles, but no one else has access.
Correct.
I mean, they could have access if they asked me, but this way, the centralized tool would be a really good idea.
That's spot on, and that's what we're trying to accomplish. An organization of our size has to have that kind of visibility into these kind of requests. So these could cost us all kinds of issues legally, if we're not able to track them well. To our credit, though, we've done well with tracking them, but we get more and more every day. As a matter of fact, I think, I forgot you told me, but
I could
There-
look.
it's a huge number now that we're just getting from one individual. So they.
Almost
they track
300 since July from one requester.
From one requester, so they're
across the
starting to.
county.
Sounds like they're.
Yeah, so they're starting to tick up quite a bit, and we really
You
need
ever
a tool
find
to
a
help us
case
track.
that I asked you
But
about
you
where you
can't,
can
you can't
charge?
say they're unduly burdensome.
The way the county's,
Okay, well, I don't want to get into that, but.
I won't get into the weeds, but the way the county's got its system organized right now, the law would indicate that rather than one FOIA entity being the county and then the number of smaller departments, each department is considered its own FOIA entity. Which changes the way that requests are calculated and counted as to recurrent requester. And as a reminder, recurrent requester doesn't say, no, we can't, we don't have to respond to things. It just delays our time in which we can. We get 21 business days instead of 5. Which is helpful when you're dealing with someone like that. But at the end of the day, you have to take each request on its own merits. I originally just said we should have Grant respond to all of them, but,
No information, no information.
And to that point, the tool will actually help us create templates. So for frequently asked requests, we can create a template and just respond to it using the template, which is much faster and more efficient.
and it'll help keep things uniform. So, one of the reasons I deal with, requesters that are sending the same thing to multiple departments is I want everyone's responses to make sure they're uniform, that we're all approaching it in the same way. But that also means that it's hard for me to keep track of all the plates that are in the air. So this will help a lot with that.
I've experienced the multiple requests as well, because I'll get a FOIA request looking for building code violations. And I'll forward it to building and say, oh no, we already answered that. So I'm doing extra work because the people will request from 5 or 6 different offices simultaneously.
Yep.
Any other questions? All right, we'll move on. Oh, I'm sorry.
Is this a specific vendor or specific piece of software?
It's a combination. So this, what we're talking about here is an application. We haven't picked the application yet.
Okay,
We've looked at several, and we know what our requirements are, right?
Okay.
That meets our requirements. What I'm talking about in general and with Connor is that he's also looking at the overall process.
Right.
So it doesn't make sense to select a tool without addressing the process. So Connor is actually addressing the process. The tool is going to supplement that and help out.
I'll say I have been impressed by all the different ones we've seen.
Any other questions? All right, let's move on to our final slide.
Final slide, last but not least, I just want to keep you all up to date on where we are. This year, we also launched the Municipal Technology Roundtable, which is a quarterly meeting of all technology experts or leaders from all 39 of our municipalities are invited to come in and talk about tech. Whatever is important to them, we talk about, they help set the different agendas. We bring in outside subject matter experts like CrowdStrike or the state to come in and talk about different issues, different products, or different policies and laws that are implemented. This is just a highlight of what we went over in our last November meeting, which was very successful. We had quite a few participants. Great questions. It was a 2-hour session that took the entire time. But we basically looked at the CrowdStrike outage. We had them come back to reassure us that they've implemented controls to ensure that they don't have the type of outage they had in the past that affected the world. We looked at the DuPage County Mutual Aid Tech Team. For those of you who know what that is, essentially a new team that is made up of volunteers, technical volunteers from the county and municipalities. If one of those entities has a major issue, those volunteers come to help, come to the aid right away to get them up and running as quickly as possible. And then we went over GIS applications. There are a lot. We actually presented to this group as well last time. And then talk about different collaboration opportunities like our cybersecurity task force. And task force and our AI task force. We've combined those two teams, so it's going to be cybersecurity / AI task force. And then we talk about police records management as well. The next meeting is Thursday, February 6th, and we have a set agenda already.
Yeah, and members of the committee are always welcome to attend these roundtables. Yes.
Oh, that's for the municipal tax.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's a county municipal technology roundtable. Yes. Member Homey.
Thank you, Chair. So quick question. So is it like mayors and managers? Is it the IT departments and like the local municipalities, like whether it's?
Yeah,
Okay, all of
it's,
it.
it's the
all
IT
one.
department, subject matter experts. The mayors and managers are invited, and some actually do participate
Okay.
remotely. They listen in. The
Okay.
DMMC actually does Suzette or a representative usually is part of that remotely and listens in. So,
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you.
that's it. You're welcome.
All right, so is there any old business? Any new business? All right. Well, everybody, I hope you have very, very happy holidays. Thank you so much for being
Thank
here.
you.
Without objection, we're adjourned.